How to draw basic shapes in Adobe Illustrator and change the color of the fill and the stroke as well as the thickness of the stroke. To draw basic shapes, I'm going to come up here and I am going to select the rectangle tool. And you can see if I press on it and hold, it gives me a couple of options. With the rectangle tool, I'm going to click and drag and I can draw a rectangle. Now, if I would like to change the color of the fill, I can come over here on the side to my properties. If my properties is not showing, I can go up to window and make sure that properties is showing. I can now change the fill to another color, and I can also change the stroke to be thicker as well as change it to another color. If I want to draw a shape that is exactly a size, I can simply click, and when I have the tool selected, it'll bring up this dialog box. You do not click and drag, you just click. So if I wanted to make something that's 100 points by 100 points, I can click OK, and there's my drawing. If I click on the Move tool, I can click and I can move this around. Another way to change the color is to select it, come over here on your tools, and in this case, I'm going to change the color of the fill and the color of the stroke. As you can see, I have those there. I'm going to demonstrate now how objects have an order from front to back. If I select my object and I drag it over, you will see that this object is behind this object. That's because I created this object, this square first, and I created this one second. If I want to move so that this one is in front of this one, I simply select it and I can right click. I choose Arrange, Bring to Front. And there you can see I have this object. Now if you right click and go to Arrange, let me select it again. If I go to Arrange, there's a couple of options. Bring to front, bring forward, and bring backward, and send to back. Send to back sends it all the way behind, and send to front brings it all the way to the front. Bring forward and send backward take it one step at a time. So what that means is if you have multiple of the same object, and I'm going to duplicate these just by pressing the Option key or the Alt key and dragging, now I have duplicates of this object. If I wanted to bring something forward, for example, if I want to bring this one forward, I right click on it, I go to Arrange, if I choose Bring Forward, you can see it went ahead of one of the objects. If I right click again, I choose Arrange, Bring Forward, it will bring it one step forward. You can see this one here is behind all of the layers. Again, I can right click, Arrange, Bring Forward, and it will bring it one object at a time. If I want to bring it all the way to the front, I right click and I choose Arrange, Bring to Front. And that will bring it in front of everything. In this case, I'm going to send it back to the back. To draw shapes other than the rectangle, you press and hold on the rectangle tool. You can choose the ellipse tool. You can also access it by pressing L on the keyboard, and you simply click and drag. Now, if you want to maintain the aspect ratio of width and height, simply press Shift on the keyboard, and it will maintain the aspect ratio of your drawing. If you would like to move things while you are drawing them, for example, if I want to create a circle and I realize I want to move it inside of that other rectangle, I press the space bar while I am drawing, and I can move it around until it is in the location that I want it to be. So again, you press Shift and it will maintain the width and the height, and you press the space bar while you are dragging and it will allow you to move it around. Another tool you can use to draw shapes that are polygons, simply press on the polygon tool and you can click and drag. Now, if you want different number of sides on the polygon tool, you can press the up key on your keypad, or you can press the down key and it will make more sides. You can also click without dragging, and you can put in the number of sides that you want. To draw a star inside of Adobe Illustrator, you click up on the rectangle tool, you go down to the star tool, and you click and drag. If you want more points on your star, you press the up arrow. Fewer points, you press the down arrow. If you want to choose how big the rays are on the star, you can simply click, and here you can choose how many points, as well as what the radius of the inside and the radius of the outside is. So I can change this value, and there you have a different shaped star. To combine different shapes together, we can use the Shape Builder tool. In order to use the Shape Builder tool, you select a couple of shapes, and then you go down to the Shape Builder tool. But first, let me show you. These are two separate shapes. I have the circle in front of this rectangle. If I click and I drag to select both of these, and I can see the dots on here, these are the anchor points indicating that these are selected. I can come over and I can choose the Shape Builder tool, and if I click on this and I come over, you can see there's this dashed line. This is letting me select different parts of my shape. For example, if I want to take this and select this circle, and I want to now delete that circle, you can see it's actually cut a hole inside of this object. I'm going to do it again here with the star. So if I select the star and I select this, I can go to my Shape Builder tool and I can choose what parts I want to select. If I want to select this one, and I'm going to select this part here, and by select I'm going to click and drag so it selects all of these at the same time. Now I can click off and I can select this part, and I've deleted the parts that I've selected, but I've kept the other parts. So again, the Shape Builder tool allows you to select multiple shapes. In this case, I'm going to select these, and then I'm going to go to the Shape Builder tool, and I can choose which areas I want to connect by clicking and dragging. So if I come over here, you can see the areas that are selected, and it has now redrawn those shapes. So again, with all of these areas selected, I can choose what I want to combine by simply dragging, and it redraws and makes those all a single shape. The next tool I want to show you, to use the Width tool, you simply select the Width tool, you go to a line, and you can see I hover the cursor over it, and I can actually resize the width of these lines. If you have an object selected, it'll resize multiple lines. If you have a single line selected, for example, if I use the Line Segment tool, and then I go to the Width tool, I can come in here and I can actually choose different parts to change the width of this line. Now to show you how to blend two different shapes, I'm going to select these two shapes. I'm going to come here to the blend tool, and I want to select the blend tool. And notice how I have the shape selected, I click in between, and it kind of blends these two things together. I can do this with colors as well. So if I select the rectangle tool, I draw a rectangle, and I want to now draw a circle with a different color. So if I grab the ellipse tool, I can draw an ellipse like this. I'm going to change the color of the fill and the color of the stroke. So you can see these colors are different. I now select this box, I press Shift, and I select this box. With the two selected, I can now choose the blend tool. And with the blend tool, I click on one of the anchor points, and then I click on the other anchor point, and you can see it blends the shape as well as the color. So this is a tool that you can experiment with by clicking on different points, and there you can see it blends from this shape to this shape.